Just in terms of some of your experiences on deployments, anything
Yeah.
of particular interest that you could share with us?
Yeah, one thing that's becoming increasingly common as we begin to deploy our product is that we're finding many of these companies have invested very heavily already in a number of different point solutions. By that I mean, they typically have a DLP solution, a data loss prevention application. They may have a data catalog application. They likely have some form of GRC or data privacy application. And many of these point solutions do in fact claim they do data discovery, and they do. However, if you really look under the covers and you get to a detail level, they don't do a very good job of discovering personal sensitive data. That seems to be a hole in their product. So what we're finding is that as we begin to engage with our customers and deploy this solution, aside from the value of what Invented does in and of itself, there's a huge amount of value that companies are finding in leveraging the catalog and the inventory of highly granular personal sensitive data by integrating and pushing that data to these other point solutions such that they can be much more enriched with that data. Again, going back to the accuracy factor, the fact that we can get to a very high level of accuracy, meaning I literally have a complete updated inventory of all of the PII data and other sensitive data about all of my customers and employees. And to the degree that I have that, I can enrich a DLP solution. I can enrich a data cataloging product like Elation or Calibra. I can, there are many DLP solutions in the market, some of which we've integrated with. So that is, we think, an increasing trend that we're finding as we deploy our product. So you're getting really two bangs for your buck, if you will. You're getting the value of having a high degree of confidence in knowing where all of your PII and sensitive data is, but you're also able to then leverage that data in other tools that you've invested in. Not so much with deployments, but part of typically with our solution, there's a POC involved before most companies acquire it. And we're finding just very recently, we've just concluded a couple of POCs, and one of the things that's come out of that we think is pretty exciting is something we call finding the unknown unknowns, right? Part of the proprietary nature of what we do is to actually discover data in motion, and that's unique to what we do. By that I mean we actually take a spam port tap, and we take a copy of the network traffic. We look at the source and the destination and the metadata that's transversing between that source and destination, and we're able to then scan what we find we think is included in that metadata, PII data. We'll scan the various repositories where that data is going, and we're finding unknown unknowns. And a graphic example of that is a POC we just concluded where we found 60,000 credit cards in a database that all of the folks we were presenting to in security and privacy had no knowledge of, which really
scary, yeah.
shocked the hell out of them, to find that data because they were totally exposed. And it's through this data in motion capability that we bring to find the unknown unknowns, which is frankly how many of these these data extortionists are taking advantage of companies. They're finding that crack, getting into the system, and then they're finding these data files that include credit card information and other personal data, which they can then turn around and hold companies hostage with. So that experience in our POC process is pretty illuminating.
And that's a bit of a unique point of Venter as well, is that ability to be able to analyze the network traffic, in other words, data in motion, and actually provide that as information. So when a DSAR request is made, you can also very quickly be able to tell that individual where their information is being used to in terms of third parties, etc.
Correct.
So, Glyn, I think just to close off then, from a partner perspective, are there any pearls of wisdom you could give in terms of the target customers, qualifying questions, how and what you should be trying to uncover?
Yeah, great question, Mark. Yeah, absolutely. So we find where we have the most success from a go-to-market strategy is with highly regulated companies. So that would be the financial sector, the insurance sector, the healthcare sector. We have quite a bit of traction in those markets because they all are highly regulated, whether it's PCI and credit card information in banking and insurance, and certainly health information on the healthcare side, but also retail. Retailers, unfortunately, have been targeted by these extortionists, these data extortionists, as I call them, and so we're finding success with large retail enterprises. So that, from a macro point of view, those are the best targets to the best companies or types of companies to go after. But frankly, we just sold a casino, right?
Okay.
They don't fit any of those profiles, but they have, tens of thousands of customers, and they have a lot of personal data about these customers because they're constantly marketing to them in various ways, right? So they want to protect that data. So those are the from an industry point of view. From a who do you talk to at companies that are involved in discovering and classifying personal sensitive data? At a strategic level, it would be the CISO, it will be your chief data officer, it will be the chief privacy officer. And you really need to probe within companies because the operational management of discovery and classification could reside in any one of those three areas. More tactically, you're dealing with the director or manager of data security, the director manager of data privacy, data architects, security architects, or combinations of data security and privacy and compliance names in any title are folks that we typically get engaged with at the tactical level, meaning the folks that are typically charged with, hey, I need you to solve this problem for me. Those are the people that we get engaged with, again, when we're doing demonstrations and POCs or POVs, but it's the CISOs, data privacy officers, and compliance officers that are the budget owners and decision makers. I think the other thing that's really important for your partners to think about is qualifying the prospect as diligently as possible. I say that because the opportunity for Inventa to solve problems is fairly broad within a company. Oftentimes we'll get engaged just with security people or just with privacy or compliance people. So depending on the nature of the business challenge that they're trying to solve at a given time, the timing of when that challenge is occurring requires you to find the right persona within a company that you want to talk to. And then you need to understand, well, what are the use cases? What are the business pains that are causing a company to need to solve the discovery and classification of sensitive data? Again, broadly speaking, it's under that security or that compliance privacy umbrella, but more specifically, it could be around, I need to protect the data and I don't know where all of my data is. So I need to start with foundationally solving that problem so that I can then work with the company I'm engaged with to tokenize or encrypt or in other ways secure that data. It could be about data minimization. The fact that this data typically is copied, shared, and stored all over the place, and it's growing exponentially, that increases your attack surface. So oftentimes companies are saying, hey, I need to shrink all of that data, get it down to a manageable core set of inventory of data, and reduce my attack surface. So data minimization. Companies that are acquiring companies, as you think about how do you bring the data over from the cloud repositories or their on-prem repositories into your IT infrastructure. Well, before you do that, you likely want to know what data they have and how much of it and where is it.
Exactly.
And so when you've acquired that company, acquisitions are kind of a turning a flag, if you will, a switch, if you will, for some of the other use cases that we typically get involved.
Great. Thanks very much, Glyn. I think we're a little bit out of time, so I think we're going to have to cut it off there. But really appreciate your time and the valuable information that you've provided to us. And yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Mark, and I look forward to working with you and your other partners. Here to help you.
And us too. Thanks, Ab. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.